Let's go away. Shalom, shalom. Welcome once again to our midweek MIDrash. I have this thing popping up about. Okay, it's gone. Okay, technology, the two-edged sword of our time.
Yes.
Amen. So welcome to midweek MIDrash, and we are about to conclude the second of four separate poetic paragraphs. So I got your attention. Psalm 139, the epic psalm of David, in which he has four separate themed paragraphs, each containing 6 verses. Okay, and the last verse is a couplet that elaborates on each of the unit's central theme. The first was verses 1 through 6, the knowledge of everything, his omniscience, omniscience, okay? And then 7 through 12 is that he is omnipresent, he's everywhere at all times. And the theme carries into the next section where he deals with light and darkness, and we'll see that continuing into the third section, which is the formation of man within the womb. And that'll be verse 13, which we'll hopefully get to start next week. This week, we're going to focus on 11 and 12, the two concluding verses of that second section, the second paragraph. So 1 through 6 we covered. 7 through 12, we hope to conclude that section and to move forward through this wonderful psalm, wonderful epic work. It's an epic work of literature. It's an epic work of spiritual reality. So on every front, you can look at it. If somebody's an atheist, they can look and see the beautiful poetry there. But we hope that he doesn't remain atheist, that he will see convincing truths that are being proven by the psalm. The psalm attempts to make a case for David's faithfulness to the eternal Yahuwah. So we thank him for this wonderful love letter that he left us to have here. Okay, so let's see, where else? So I guess we should go right into the opening prayer, Gilbert. You there, Gil?
Yes, I was on mute.
Oh, okay.
Heavenly Father, I thank you once more for being your presence this evening with our fellow brethren, dear Father. Father, we're experiencing some very difficult times now, especially with this pandemic. Most of the time, we have to be depending on the technology, dear Father, when we could be gathering together in our temple. But due to the fact that these times are so serious, thank you, Father, that we can at least communicate with each other via the communication of the technology, dear Father. May you continue to guide us. Bless this evening, what you can hear, Father. May you guide them, oh Father, bless them. Bless each and everyone who is not taking this evening in this or meeting, dear Father. Dear hands, Father, we commit ourselves unto your hand. In your Son Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Gil. I could just make sure I have the screen on so we make sure everything is good to go.
Yeah, I had a little problem on my end here. I hope that it straightens out. But it looks like it's okay over here now.
Okay. Alrighty. So here we are, already episode 51.
Wow.
It seems like we've been doing this for a long time or a short time. Sometimes it seems very short. Others it's like amazing that it's been going on here. Excellent. And there's 52 weeks in a year, right? So that means this is we're approaching an anniversary next week, right?
I don't know. Are we? I have not kept track of the time, so I'm not really sure.
52 weeks in a year.
Right. But I don't know. I don't remember.
You're supposed to be the smart one.
I know, but about
52, and you need convincing. You need to be saved and delivered from your doubting heart.
Doubting Hyman. I don't recall when we started, but I believe you. I believe you. 52.
Must have been 52, 51 weeks.
52.
Next week will be 52 weeks. Shalom, William. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad to see that either your smartphone or your not so smartphone or your laptop, whatever's working. We're glad that you're there, brother. Definitely glad. Now, if only I would see Wanda, I would all of a sudden get really happy. So it's all up to you, Wanda. It's all up to you, Wanda.
No pressure. No pressure, Wanda.
No pressure. It's just we're going to wait here for you. No, we can't do that. Okay. Oh, man. It's good to laugh. Good to have joy in Yah. Good to have simcha. And we do have simcha. We have great joy in Yah because he's wonderful and he's treated us with great kindness. And anyway, so let's get to it. Sir Herman, if you would like to do the review from last week. And,
yes.
I think you're going to start off with 9.
I think it's verses 8 through 10.
Okay.
And just give me a moment here. Oh, someone came on. A borrowed smartphone, William says.
All right.
All right. Welcome, William. Okay, let's get to...
Here we go.
Okay. Let me know, Bob.
There we go.
All righty. So, as always, I always like to do a quick review of what I touched on last week, which is verses 8 through 10. And one of the points, of course, was the 4 points of the compass, which is east, west, south, and north. Now, I normally say north, south, east, and west, but the reason why I put it this way is because, as I said, the Hebrew, the Jew, is oriented to the east, but a little more of that later on. So that was one point. I also touched on the nuances associated with the vocabulary that has to deal with the compass, the 4 directions of the compass. And in some cases, depending on the context, the term could be translated in front of or behind or to the left of or to the right. And these are the words that have to do with the 4 directions of the compass. And as I said, the default direction is east. Okay, so the Jew is always oriented to the east. I also touched on the directional hey, sometimes called a locative hey. And I stated that depending on the translation, the hey, the directional hey, can be translated as southward, northward. It can also be translated as to a place, going to a place, or going towards a place. Now, the example that I gave last week was Mitzrayim, going to Egypt, to Mitzrayim. But in this case, I decided to give a different example, which is going towards Jerusalem, right? Yerushalayim. And we find that term Yerushalayim in 1 Kings chapter 2, chapter 10, verse 2, regarding the Queen of Sheba going to Jerusalem. I also touched on anthropomorphic language attributed to the Lord, because remember that verse 10 talks about his hand and his right hand. And the anthropomorphic language is anthropos, man, mankind, and morphe, in the form of or the shape of. And of course, this is poetic language that's being used. And I provided a few examples from the Psalter. Like, for instance, his eyes, his eyelids, his fingers, and so on. Okay? And last but not least, verse 10, I stated, is written in a chiastic structure, a very small chiastic structure, which is not seen in the English. And when you read it in the Hebrew, you'll see that it's written this way, A, B, B, A. By the way, the term chiasm, a chiasm is a crossing over, like a crisscrossing over a thought. So what you usually, depending on the length of the chiasm, you'll have A, B, C, D, and then it crosses over, D, C, B, A. And it can go on very long, depending on the length of the poem. But in verse 10, we have here A, your hand, B, it shall lead me, B, complement, it shall hold me, and then A, complement, your right hand. All right, Bob? So that's the review of what I touched on last week.
Amen. It's appropriate that the chiasm, which is a crossover, is dealing with Hebrew, since the root of Eber, who is the ancestor of the Hebrews, means to cross over.
Yes.
To go beyond. So it's interesting. Anyway, so that's a good point. Good point.
Yep.
Amen. So if you would be so kind then as to read that sequence of verses together, and then we'll get into the Hebrew.
Alrighty. So I'm going to read from the New King James Version, verses 11 and 12, okay? So it says, if I say, surely the darkness shall fall on me, even the night shall be light about me. Indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you.
Amen. Amen. And that's comforting. That's a comforting thought. That there's no fear of the darkness because he's with us.
Yes.
Even though the darkness will fall upon us, even the night shall be like light about me. So let's get into the Hebrew and let's get into this text, which is verses 11 and 12.
Okay.
Here we go. You got the slide there, young man?
Yes. It should be up on the screen now. Do you see it?
Not yet.
Okay, let me give it another try here.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I still see nothing.
Nothing. Oh, I'm so sorry, compadre. Un momento. Okay.
There we go.
There we
Here
go.
you go. Click on that. You click on that. I click on this. And here we go. Okay, it's slow in arriving. It's fading in. And there we go. Okay. Interesting. A verse starting with the vav, which usually means and. We usually think of that as part of something else, but I'm sure you'll have an answer for that. Va'omer, if I should say, okay. Ach choshech. Ach choshech. A lot of guttural sounds right there. Surely darkness. Okay. Surely darkness. Choshech. Okay. Yeah. Yeshu Feini. Yeshu Feini. Yeshu Feini. That's the afnak there. That's
Yes.
Right. Afnak. But I mean, I'm saying afnak, not with the ducks sound. Afnak.
Yeah, right.
Yeshu Feini. And if I say surely darkness, he will hide me. And it's interesting. Again, this is the faith being developed through this verse. He's saying, if I shall say surely, ach shochesh, surely, with no doubt, of course, darkness, it will hide me. Okay, of common sense. Of course, darkness is going to hide me, right? The laila, and night, or ba'adeni. Okay, and if I say, surely, the darkness will hide me, will be about me. And the word for hide is shuf, which means to cover, will hide, but also to gape at, to overwhelm, to break, or to bruise. Surely
Correct.
the darkness will overwhelm me.
Correct.
And night Okay, surely will cover me. Okay, okay. So it's more than just night will be. Let's see. Darkness shall fall on me. Is a fear of a genuine danger. Surely the darkness will gape, open up its maw, and consume me, engulf me in its covering of blackness, where we cannot see. Where even as where was it now? In Paul's account in Athens, where he talked about the pagans groping in the darkness for Elohim. You know, we grope, we reach for him, but we don't know where he is because we're enveloped in shadow. We lost the slide. Did you take that away?
Yeah, I took it away. I thought you finished, but I can put it back up on the screen if you
Yeah,
wish.
yeah, yeah. Just for a second there.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay. If we can just mute that. Okay, even the night shall be light about you. Okay. If I say, surely the darkness shall follow me, fall on me, even the night shall be light about me. Okay. So this is the turning of the corner, so to speak. The Laila or Ba'adeni. Night is light around me, and light is as light. Night is as light about me. Laila, and it's full darkness. Otherwise, it would be erev, the twisting of the
Right.
night and the day, the dusk. So there's four phases of a day. There's boker, morning. There is yom, which is daytime. There is erev, which leads to full night, which is lila. So that would be the full darkest. Okay, light. Night is as light to you, and or as we talked about this last week with regards to the orientation and the orient
Right. Right.
is talking about the or being the light, the sun as it rises in the east. So the orient is always to the east. Okay, and the root of that word is to be luminous. Okay, the break of day, to kindle or to set on fire. Okay, so the night is like the break of day. Even the deep darkness yields to the light because of you. All around me becomes light because of you. Even in the darkness, I am somehow surrounded by light. And we know that because Yah is the one who provides it for us. And remember, Messiah was talking about in one of his parables, and he's saying, if the light that is in you is darkness,
Mm.
what then is the darkness to be like? Paraphrasing, of course. So again, he uses that to illustrate a similar idea, only in reverse. If you being evil, the best you can do is evil. If the most friendly you can do is be my enemy, and we're neighbors, and what is the worst thing you can do if I'm not your enemy, but worse? You know, what greater depths of wickedness are you capable of? You already check my mail. I found evidence of that, and I
Mm.
found certain things missing that I leave in the yard. And you're my neighbor. The neighbor is, never home. So that's you being the best. That's you being my neighbor. We tend to at least be kind to the ones who live next to us because we kind of are to look out for each other. So if you're like a serial killer, and if that's the best you can be, is a bad neighbor. How bad can you be when the enemy falls out of favor with you? So when our light is darkness, wow,
Mm.
when our light is darkness. But Yahuwah turns it around. He's talking about he's going to make our darkness light. He's going to make our darkness light all around us, not just a little stream of a spotlight, but the light is ba adeni, all around me. So I think that's a beautiful, beautiful verse. It gives us hope. Surely, if I say surely the darkness is going to fall upon me, and choshech is threatening because it cuts us off from and confuses us and causes us to grope with uncertainty. But light is wisdom. Light is the spark You know, the light bulb above the head. Otherwise, we have no imagination. We have no source of ideas or wisdom. Chachma.
Hmm.
So it requires of us to have light that only he can provide for us, because surely darkness is going to come sooner or later. You know, the night is coming, but you're going to provide light for us. You know, even as Yehoshua fought the battle, and the light stayed right where it needed to be while the victory was being won. He was able to provide Yehoshua with light in the time when darkness should have happened. And interestingly enough, that historically, there are countries on the other side of the globe, or whatever you believe in, the other side experienced a day-long darkness unexpectedly. And now that happens in certain parts of the world where we have, you know, months of darkness or months of light. But this was a freak of nature, so to speak, that a full night lasted 2 days, whereas in Yahushua's story, the light continues and continues while the battle is being won. So, interesting. So light he is light. He is the source of light, and he requires us to be of light.
Amen.
You know, if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. And that's where the blood of Messiah can cleanse us from all sin, right? But you have to walk in the light as he is in the light, and when he is in the light, because he is light. So we need to be where he is, and that is where light is. It's always a sunny day, not in Philadelphia, whatever the name of that show is. But where he is always light. Where he is always joy. Where he is always life. Darkness produces death. It produces, you know, I was in a physician once, he said, like 3 o'clock in the morning is when most people die in their sleep. So the vector of death hovers over the darkness. Even when we go to Bereshit chapter 1, right? It says, darkness hovered over the deep. And again, the idea of hovering. Oh no, was it hovering? Darkness over the deep, tohu vavohu. And then it says, as things progress, then it's the ruach, the spirit over the waters. It's discernible. We have a definite ruach. We have a definite body of waters. Otherwise, it's a vague concept of darkness and obscurity. And when I was out in the world, huddled on a rainy day somewhere in Manhattan, I think it was downtown, I was, you know, had a good half a load on, and it was raining, and I saw this little card slipping by, and I picked it up, and it was a picture of a sunrise, and it says, "Oh Lord, shed your light into the obscurity of my soul."
Wow.
And that was an amazing moment in my life. It wasn't an instantaneous, oh, I got to stop doing this, doing that. But I've held on to it, obviously, for 40 years, maybe 40 years. Yeah, over 40 years. So it's still fresh. That card, I don't know what happened to it. Might have got misplaced or something. You would have thought I would have treated that with a frame of some kind. I think it's in one of my little pocket Bibles.
I know where that card is. It's in here.
Yeah, it is.
That's where it is.
Yes, absolutely. So light is the answer. Light is the answer. Where there's light, there's hope of seeing a way out of the darkened situations, because he provides the light of life. So I'm sorry. Let me let you get in here.
Well, I don't have much to say, so I won't say much. But what we have here in this section of the poem, actually in this stanza, is a shifting. There is a transition, because remember that David starts out with up, down, going east, and then going west. So now he shifts from the directions to a hypothetical state of concealment on the darkness, right? But David realizes, he says, it's not possible. He realized that the darkness is not going to provide physical concealment. It doesn't even provide mental concealment, because the Lord knows his thoughts, as we read in the first stanza, Remember the inward activity and the outward activity.
Yes.
So the darkness does not provide any type of cover. All right. There is a saying I used to, my uncle actually was the one. I would play chess with my uncle. And when he was putting a lot of pressure on me, he would tell me, you can run, but you can't hide on the board, of course, the chessboard.
Yes.
And that's what I think the Lord is telling David. You can run, you can go east, west, up, down, but you can't hide. Right? So, yeah. Now, there's another element here to this, and I just want to share this point here, that it can help us to realize the ability that the Lord has. Now, we humans today, believe it or not, we can see in the darkness. We could, right? Because of the technology that we have, there are night vision binoculars that are often used in the military. You have thermal imaging goggles that are used, they're slightly different. And these soldiers, these people can see in the dark. They can see in the dark. And if it's we that we can now see in the dark, how much more the Lord? How much more the Lord can see if we can do it now through technology? Okay. So that's very important. So that's something that we really need to think about. So for all those knuckleheads out there that are going around doing nefarious things that they think they're under the cover of darkness, I think they're in for a surprise.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're in for the surprise because the cover of darkness is not going to hide them. The Lord sees them. And
Right.
indeed, they are in for a surprise. Bob, what I would like to do, if you don't have anything else, I'd like to just go to the PowerPoint and share a few more points on some of the structure of these two verses.
Well, maybe we should finish the second verse before we do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Because they pertain to both of them, right?
Yeah, we're going to do both. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Then it might be better. I was thinking also that the Yahuwah says that Messiah will return like a thief in the night, because we don't expect him. He's going to come when we think that the day is done and we're just going to sleep through it. But also the other idea with the darkness, when we shut the lights out, we're looking around, we're not seeing anything. But then, we're trying to sleep. We might nod out, but something wakes us up. All of a sudden, our eyes have adjusted. We're into a sort of moral relativism, which is a dangerous thought, right? Where it's dark, but hey, so it's not so bad. I can kind of see what's going on. But what happens when somebody flicks the light on? All of a sudden, the light is, oh no, that's killing me. It's killing me. And all of a sudden, we have to adjust to the light, just as we had to adjust to the darkness. So man has been created to make that decision for himself. Which does he prefer? We are children of the day, not children of the night. Those who carouse at night, because the darkness covers them. It shades over them what they're doing. It used to be shameful. It used to be, people don't want to know that I'm out there socializing till 3 a.m. When I come home, I put the key in the lock very slowly, and I walk through, creeping through, take my shoes off so they don't squeak, put my shoes on, sneak through the apartment, and mom's out cold. I hear her, I see the windows rattling, so I know, hey, I got this done. But mom's not a fool. She'd be out there, and as soon as I walk through the door, flick the light on with a rolling pin in her hand. She's going to teach me a lesson, right? So it's an interesting thought, though, right? Because, like I said, moral relativism. We are situational ethics obsessed over the past few decades. It gets worse and worse, where congregations are now teaching moral relativism, that it's okay to believe in these things as long as you still believe in your Jesus and whatever, that it's okay, it's fine, but we're sinners. We're all sinners saved by grace, whatever. And we're not being taught that Yah expects much more from us. He expects us to be lights. Be lights. If we walk in the light as he is already in the light, he's firmly entrenched in the light. It's up to us to get there. And then once we get there, we have to remain there and abide there. If you abide in me and I in you, that's the connection. That's the connection. And if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have true koinonia. with each other and with him. And that's where true fellowship truly begins, where two or three are gathered with him in our center as we speak his words. And so again, once we're in that darkened state, we're comfortable there. We kind of, we could still be kind of freaked out by the darkness. But most people, if they got to get up and go to the bathroom or go up and get a snack or something, you're going to hit your foot sometimes. But generally, you're accustomed to that darkened condition, and you're able to navigate. Not going to jog through, but you can kind of carefully negotiate your way through. But again, then once the light comes in, it's an invading force. It forces your eyes shut. Forces you that you repel against it. And that's where the world is. The world has gotten so adjusted to darkened conditions that the light becomes the intruding factor. And just as the darkness over the deep becomes the ruach over the waters, and the waters are mayim chayim, they're living waters, and they're bursting forth like the ruach hakodesh, the Holy Spirit. So all of a sudden, there's a change, there's a shift. It's a huge shift in our lives, only if we allow it to take place, only if we're willing to go along with it and not to haggle or to in any way resist it. So that's the way Yah would like us to be led, to follow his footsteps, to walk where he walks, and not to walk in the darkness. Just like in the wilderness, right? You had at the nighttime, what did Yah have for us? He had a cloud in the dark? No, he had the cloud at the day, so we could see the contrast then. And in the dark, he was a pillar of fire. A pillar of fire. Wow. Okay, I know where he is. You have to tell me. And it goes all the way up to the sky. So regardless of where I am, I can see this thing. And I can feel the warmth and the light that it gives. And light is a comforting thing. Very comforting. And, when all is dark around us and we have that, like I was in that doorway huddled against the chill and against the rain, I had this card illuminate something in my mind and found purchase. Okay, I found purchase in a vulnerable spot in me that was willing to acknowledge that, yes, this is true, that Yah can call us when we're expecting him. And that we think of, like I said, think about that 40 years down the road. So it's a borrowed smartphone. Okay, that's what he said earlier. I was just looking to what he was saying. So anyway, I'm going to stop there. So why don't we go into the next verse, and then you can make the comment on both verses, right?
Sure.
Because what you have to say is pertaining to both, correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So let's do that first. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Here we going. Turning the page, and chapter 12. Okay. We start with Gam Choshech. Gam Choshech. Gam, even darkness. Even darkness. Okay. And let me just see. And figuratively, Choshech can be, besides physical darkness, it can be misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness, obscurity. So again, the obscurity of my soul needed to have his light. Okay, so even darkness, lo, yach, shich, yachshich, yacheshich. Okay, that's a tough one to say. He will not be dark. The darkness will not be dark. Interesting. Even the darkness will not be dark. To hide, to dim, to darken is choshech. So gam choshech lo yachoshech. So it will not be darkness. And the yod reminds us who's in control. The yod that he added to the choshech, yachoshech. He determines it is not. He negates it. He cancels it out. Even the darkness is no longer darkness. Okay? Even darkness. Let's see. What am I doing? Okay. Mimecha, to you. Even the darkness is not darkness to you. Velaila, and night, Kayom, as the day, yom, kayom, okay? And as the day, and night is as the day. Ya'ir, ha, cha, shecha, as the darkness. Ka, ora, so the word or in there too. So the light, as the day, so the light, okay? And ora is the feminine form of or, and implies prosperity, ora, okay? So when we put that together, even darkness will not be darkness to you, and night, as the day, he will shine as the darkness, so the light. So there is, it makes no difference. He's the same under all circumstances, always. He's not, if we got plans and it's raining outside, we got to alter our plans. He's not at the whim of any condition at all that's ever been, because he creates all the conditions too. Indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day, and the darkness and the light are both alike to you.
Amen.
Now, you get the wrong idea again, thinking that he's saying that there's moral relativism. Good or bad doesn't make any difference. It's not what he's saying. He's saying with regards to there being a difference that affects him, because the darkness affects us, but he changes that. He changes that completely, and where we trust in him, all of a sudden that's the source. That is our refuge, and it always has the light of day that he provides for us as the day. Kayom, Ya'ir. Okay? Okay, as the darkness, so the light. It's we have 3 ka words practically in a row. As, so. As the day, as the darkness, so the light.
Yes.
Makes no difference. The light will shine. And like it or not, when it's a rainy day, the sun's still there. You know? Through conditions, weather conditions, and our moods are like those weather conditions. The light's out there. If you're having a dark day, a dark, rainy, dingy day, that's on you. The sun's there. The same source of light, heat, and energy, it's right there. We just develop these clouds and put them over us and dwell in the clouds. Whereas he said, no. I want you to be in light as I am in the light, that we can have fellowship with each other. The darkness shall not hide us. The darkness shall not hide us. It will not cover us and conceal us or brutalize us. As we said, that one of the connotations of that is to be overcome, to be broken, to be bruised, that like jaws of a huge beast to gape at us, to swallow us, and to fear being consumed. There's no reason for that fear. The perfect love of Yah casts away. Not gently either. It gives it a good swift boot in the hiney and casts it out completely. It casts out fear. Not too gently either. And that's what light does to darkness. The darkness cannot comprehend it, cannot overcome it. The light shines in the darkness. Amen. Okay, brother.
Yes. Yes, okay. Just a quick note on verse 12, and then maybe I'll go into the PowerPoint. I like the way the Targum translates verse 12. And of course, this is the English translation of the Targum. It says, also the darkness will not be too dark for your word. Notice, for your word. And the night, like day, will give light. Like darkness, like light, they are equal. So once again, the Targum views Yahweh and his word on equal standing. And during the PowerPoint, I'm going to share the link for those that are interested in getting access, because it's free online, access to an English translation of the PowerPoint. I'm sorry, English translation of the Targum, So what I would like to do, Bob, is that I want to go back to the PowerPoint, and let me get to slide 102. If I can just get there quickly, slide 102. Okay, so this is Bob. Do you see the PowerPoint there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all righty. This is the structure of the section, the last section of the second stanza. And what we have here is an A, B, and then X, right, structure. And I hope to share and bring that out now. So notice the A. It says, if I say, surely the darkness shall fall on me, or as you said, Bob, overwhelm me, cover me, and wrap me, right? If I were to say that, and then notice the parallel here. Indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you. So we have a parallelism here with the A and the A complement. Darkness, darkness, and then shall fall on me or shall overwhelm me, cover me, and wrap me, and it shall not hide from you. So there we see the parallelism there. But when it comes to the B, it says, even the night shall be light about me, and then B complement, but the night shines as the day. So here, once again, we have this parallelism with night and light and day. And then we have the X, which is the conclusion. David concludes, the darkness and the light, they're both alike to you. They're both alike. So that's the conclusion of those two statements in those two verses. Right? In verse 11, what we have here is a nice, beautiful rhyme. We have a nice rhyme. I hope to read it poetically so you can hear the cadence, the rhyme. Okay, so it would sound like this. And I highlighted the sections. It's a feini dani rhyme. Okay, so vayomer ach choshech yeshufeni velayla or ba'adeni. Okay, so notice how that rhymes, that verse rhymes, and I kind of dig that. I like that. Okay, so you have the yeshufeni ba'adeni rhyme in verse 11. Now there's verse 12, and if you notice in verse 12, I highlighted these particular accent marks here because this is our first triplet in the poem. Up to now, we have had couplets, just two lines, couplets. But this is our first triplet of the poem, and I want to share with you, Bob, and the audience, of course, how the triplets are divided, how the lines are divided when you have a three-liner. Okay, so you're going to notice that, of course, the line is dominated by what's called disjunctive accents. It's remember that when it comes to the cantillation marks, you have both disjunctive and conjunctive accents. These disjunctive accents that we have here, which I hope to share in a moment, are high ranking. By the way, the accents are by rank, and these are high ranking disjunctive accents. Now the first line is marked by the ole wa yored, which is actually, a lot of these terms are Aramaic. Many of them are Aramaic and Hebrew, of course. So the ole wa yored is the ascend, and descend, and it's identified by this little mark up here that looks like a less than, and then the forward slash. Okay, so this is what marks the first division, the first line, the ole wa yored. The second line is indicated by the athnak. And by the way, when you have a three-liner or multiple lines, the ole wa yored ranks higher than the athnak. The athnak, of course, has a high rank when there are two lines, but when there are three lines or more, the ole wa yored ranks higher. So the second line is indicated by the athnak, and then which means rest. And then the third line, the final line, is indicated by the siluk, which means separation, and that's that little vertical bar there. Okay, so this is how, in most of the cases, a triplet is divided poetically. So you can have the lines, right? Now, I'd like to bring this out here because in our verse, in verse 12, we have something that's called a galga. And the galga is not to be confused with the athanak. And I highlighted it here. Here's the athanak. Here is the cantillation mark that identifies the second line. But notice the galga here. It looks very similar. It could be confusing. Sometimes this is called a yarech. A lot of these cantillation marks have two names. Okay? So the athanak is like like an up arrow, whereas the galga is like a down. Of course, in this font, it looks curvy, but if you look in many of the textbooks, you'll see that many times it's like a down arrow, and the athanak would be up, like a pointing up. Okay, so the galga here is what you call a conjunctive accent, and the function of it, of course, is to unite. So in this case, lo yachshich, right, is to be read, understood with the mimeka. And by the way, the mimeka here, notice that it has the dot here, the dagish. Okay, so it will be mimeka. Alrighty. So here, once again, the galga functions as a conjunctive accent so that these words are to be read together, understood together, whereas the athanak is a major disjunctive accent, and that's where the line or the thought ends. It completes a thought. Okay? Bob, any questions on that before I move on?
No, good. Excellent.
Okay. Alrighty. And you mentioned this also, Bob. You mentioned the feminine aspect of ka'ora, right? So the last line uses the feminine forms of darkness and light. And of course, that feminine form is indicated by the hey, the final hey. The hey has a lot of functions in Hebrew. I shared last week the directional hey. Here, the hey is functioning as the feminine form of the noun. Okay, the hey, when it's prefixed, when it's before a word, actually, when it's in front of a sentence, it functions as a question mark. It's called the interrogative hey. So the hey has many functions in the Hebrew language. I just mentioned three, but in this case here, in our verse 12, you have the feminine forms of darkness and light, and it's prefixed by the preposition and then the article. And you mentioned this also as well, Bob. You have the ka, the three kas, right? Mm-hmm. In the second line, you have the preposition with the pathak article. So as the, here we have it again, as the, and here we have it again, as or so as. The preposition, of course, can be translated differently according to the context. So as the light, as the darkness, so the light is one way of understanding, which you shared as well. So these are just a few of the things that I wanted to share grammatically as well as poetically on this last section of the stanza, Bob. Okay, now just finally, here is the link for those that are interested. Of course, you can pause the video. This is the link where you can get a free translation online of the Psalms Targum. Okay, there's the link. Now keep in mind that the link here, I was trying to erase the line, but I could not erase the line. Keep in mind that this is an underscore here. So when you do a search, there's an underscore here and an underscore here. So please keep that in mind. It's covered by the line, which I was unable to delete. Okay, so that's the link there for the English translation of the Psalms Targum. Okay, and we have come to our end there.
Amen. Well done, my friend. Well done. And
Thank you.
it's amazing how much detail is there. And with our concluding verse 12, we've reached the halfway point, the midpoint of the psalm. And just as it says, as light, so the darkness. So, as I mentioned earlier, so the day is broken up into 4 parts. The night is equal to the duration of the day. Night comes when no one should work. Day is the time of working. So Yah works in creation, sets the example for man, and the rest's in the evening. And then the Yom comes again and he does his work. And it was evening and it was morning, day 2, and so on and so forth. So again, the thing is that the 4 equal parts are 6 times 4, which is 24, just like what we're reading with the psalm. So the psalm is very much like a day, a full life of one day, of one yom in the general sense of yom. So we have the boker, we finish the yom, and now we go into the lila, into the erev. We have the 4 equal parts that comprise a yom, even though yom is that second 6-hour thing, and we believe, according to the scriptures, just like the evening sacrifice was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it would be 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 would be the time of the Lila. 9, right? 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. And then the morning would start to bring the early morning, and then it would 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 would be the beginning of the day. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. So 3 o'clock. So the Yom is the day of work, day of accomplishing what's been set before us, because there were no night owls back in the days of the patriarchs, because the light was tough to do your work in. You had the light at home, maybe with a lamp, you can do certain things, but you couldn't do a full day's work at night. You just couldn't do it. So that's the example that we've given. The 4 times 6 makes one complete psalm in this case. So we've read through. We're about to start the beginning of the erev, the transition. Because next he goes in. We see that he is all knowing. He's everywhere, and now we have deeper considerations concerning the formation of man and his purpose. And then we conclude with the holiness that destroys evil. And it has a hint of the beginning. Again, search me, O Yah, and know my heart, try my thoughts, and so on. So we have a circle, we have a loop. At the end of the morning, we go to sleep at night and we wake up in the morning. The boker, leading into the yom. And then we come home we close our day. See, at 3 o'clock, it's still light, so the sacrifices can still be made. Otherwise, they'd be setting each other on fire, right? So the sun starts to descend. It starts to get dusky. They do their last minute stuff, including the sacrifice, which seals the day. That's when Messiah died, right? The beginning at the 3 in the afternoon, roughly. That's also the time of what? What was that? Oh, the time when Elijah, set the offering on the altar at Mount Carmel, the tower of Mount Carmel, against the prophets of Baal. They had all day to do what they needed to do, but at the time of the evening sacrifice, Eliyahu sets up his altar made of 12 stones, made of the representation of Israel and its strength, because he was trying to win Israel back. He says, hey, how long are you guys going to be wavering between 2 points? If Yahuwah is the true Elohim, then follow him. But if the Baalim are the true deities, then follow him. Make up your mind. Make up your mind, people. And he gives them all day, and then he starts mocking them a little bit. Hey, where is your Baal? Is he indisposed? Is he on a lunch break, or is he at the throne trying to get some work done, making a deposit? What's the deal here? And so then they say, hey, we can't. Okay, you think it's so easy? You guys do it. And he tells them to to fill the trenches around the altar once with water. Do it again, twice with water. One more, 3 times with water. And then he says, Yahuwah, I put my life on the line here for you to get your people back thinking, because they're not thinking right now. They're following foolishness. They're following the wicked king Ahab and his wicked wife Jezebel, who has already slaughtered many of the prophets, many of the Nabi'im. And Yah has allowed me to come here and even alone to determine the way this is going to go down. You go and get my people. You go and do this. You do that. Okay. So he set up. Yah revealed that to him, and so in spite of all the water, his prayer is sincere prayer, and Yahuwah answers him with the fire, the flame coming down. And not only does it consume the sacrifices, it consumes the stones, it consumes the wood, and also it licks up all the water. So showing his preeminence, and the people respond by saying, okay, I think we got the message. So hopefully we don't need that drastic wake-up call or a light in the dark to get our attention and to realize that you better get your eyes adjusted to the light, because that's where we're going to be walking. If we want to find life, and if we want to find prosperity and health and all these other wonderful attributes that Yah has promised us. So we need to be grateful for that. And again, that's what we're seeing here. The light and the day and the night are equal. Yeah, they're all beautiful parts of the creation. You know, it's the misbehavior of man that thinks and makes the mistake of believing that the light will cover, the darkness will cover their errors, but the secret sins will be exposed. And what is the agent of exposure but the light? The light will uncover all of this, will uncover all of the schemes and all the plots that are done in boardrooms in the middle of the night or in the closed away in some building somewhere. Let's see, the human spirit can endure in sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? Proverbs 18:14. Thank you, Hank. Good old Hank. Thank you, Hank. I thank you for being with us tonight. So,
Yes. Amen.
So bear all this in mind. There's a lot of stuff being taught here that you don't always grasp it initially, but I think you can see what we're talking about here. It's beautifully poetic. It's beautifully precise, even as our brother pointed out, that the last wasn't a couplet but a triplet, and we saw the points there, and we saw the poetry there, and as and so, all making those assertive points with no wavering. Yah gives us confidence, not to be arrogant and proud, but to have confidence, because He's given us what we need to sustain us. So why are we going to say, "Oh, I'm always a sinner"? No, you're not. You need to be transformed. The renewing of your mind makes you a new creation. So don't think failure. Failure is not your standard that you are bearing. You are bearing Messiah. You are bearing Him. We walk as He walked. We think as He thinks. So that's on us to let that light emanate from us, from Yah. So, amen. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, any final thoughts, young man?
I do have a final thought.
Yes.
Since we're going to begin the third stanza, we're halfway now. We hit the halfway mark.
Yep.
Since we're going to begin the third stanza, what I would like to do is just do a little review on the structure, because there is a structure within a structure. And you know that I like the poetic structure.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I want to do is just give an outline of the two previous stanzas that we've studied, a poetic outline, and then we'll get into verse 13.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Tov, tov, tov. Excellent.
So, folks, come back. Don't miss out. We've got some more juicy stuff ahead.
A lot of juice. Very,
Yes.
very good. There's a lot. We got to do the crushing of the grapes with our feet and be part of the Purplefoot tribe.
The Purplefoot tribe.
Amen. Patricia?
Yes.
If you would please do the honors of saying our final closing prayer.
Yes, I will.
Amen.
Avino Maltano, our Father and our King, Creator of the heavens and the earth. We honor you for who you are. Great is your faithfulness unto us. Look to you for guidance instead.
Yes.
We ask you to bless each family this night. Thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us each day. Bless and protect each one of us. You are so worthy to be praised.
Amen.
Hallelujah. To Yeshua, be all glory and honor. Amen and amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you,
Amen.
Patricia, for being the bookends, Pat and Gilbert. Thank you so much for that. And again, let us know how we're doing. Give us a thumbs up from time to time, and don't forget to subscribe. We just broke 100, so that's pretty good.
Wow, bravo.
I don't even know 100 people. How do I
Wow,
do
bravo. Congratulations, Bob. Congratulations. You hit
Amen.
100 mark. Yay.
Yahuwah did it, but it's those who want to see and hear Hermano as well as anybody else. So we
Amen.
thank you for watching, and regardless of whether you're watching live or whether you're watching this later on, just tell people about it. And if this has been a blessing to you, let people know. And if it's not, then don't tell anybody. I do pray that all is well, and I pray for your strength and for your health and your well-being, that you keep your focus on the light and don't let us drift. Don't be set adrift. Don't fade away. Stay true. Stay focused, and allow the Ruach to guide you, and it'll only lead you to good things. Only lead you to good. Don't go astray. So I pray for the strength of Yah in your physical body, in your spiritual life. Be strong in Yah. Chazak. Have the strength. And be faithful to each other, and be faithful to Yah first and foremost, always. So we say Laila Tov to you, and this coming Sabbath will be unique because we will have our fourth Unity service. So tune in for us. We will have an abbreviated service before we go over to the Your Arms to Israel channel, and 4 or 5 different congregations will be assembled. I'll be speaking, one of the speakers there. So again, be grateful, and we will join you here, Yahuwah willing, next Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. So until then, we say Laila Tov Ulahi Traot. We say good night, and we're going to check you out soon, okay?
Amen.
Be well, be strong.
Shalom.
Amen. Shalom, shalom.